What up, Tag Nation? We had a pretty solid NXT show, but it shouldn't have went against Double or Nothing. More after the intro.
T.A.G.
That's tag shit.
Free fall as I dive through the kaleidoscope in my mind. No rope up to climb. Gotta remind myself that I'm fine. Mama, I don't really want.
And funny enough, I said that, and then the intro has Dr. Baker and Hangman in it. So, yeah. Welcome to another episode of Hot Tag. You know, ScooterRay, aka Scoot the Loop, Lip Dizzle, and we here to talk about NXT BattleGround. Now, it took place Lowell, Massachusetts, and funny enough, same time as Double or Nothing. This was the first time WWE decided to run a premium live event or pay-per-view the same time as a AEW show, and it wasn't the best decision to make
No, not at
because
all.
with Double or Nothing being such a stacked card, it definitely was not the decision to make. And not to say that NXT BattleGround was trash, because it was a very solid show. It was just you decided to run it at the same time as Double or Nothing. Like, that was the weird part. Like, they didn't move it, they didn't budge. They was like, nah, it's gonna happen. And it was like, all right, cool. If the show failed, the show failed. They was like, if they die, they die. It was like, all right, cool. All right, well, first matchup, North American Championship, Champ Wesley versus Joe Gacy versus Tyler Bate. Them boys went out there. Hold on 1 second. I think Dizzle said it best. There is need to acknowledge the fact that Wesley is the best North American champion there is. Let me put some respect on the match right quick and give y'all that graphic. But yeah, Wesley coming in as champ. His two opponents, Joe Gacy, Tyler Bate. This match had an interesting backstory because Wesley and Tyler Bate had this little friendship. Joe Gacy basically was coming at the West saying, it's time for me to have some gold. It's time for me to look out for myself. And I want that belt, fam. And through all of that, he was exposing the fact that Gacy was exposing the fact that, well, you need to check your boy Bate, because Bate might not be who you think he is in all of this. And there he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Bate might not be as who you think he is, and from that, it led to Wesley like, look, I can't trust anybody. So Wesley was like, fuck it, I'll fight you both. I'll fight you both. Triple threat, battleground, let's do it. I'll fight you both. And fight you both, he did. You know what's funny? When Nash Carter got released, we all thought West might be doomed. But damn it, Nash Carter leaving probably proved the best thing for Wesley.
I was thinking about this. I don't know if you touched on the aspect of what I said last night about arguably being the greatest North American champion.
Okay. I mentioned it, but I'm gonna let you expound upon it since it was your statement.
Well, so I will say this because it was interesting about the whole Nash Carter thing and the whole MSK situation, because as the match happened and as I started to formulate the whole him being the greatest North American champion, I started thinking about the Rockers and the
Okay.
whole Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels situation,
Yeah.
and how this is almost akin to that, just not with the whole aspect of, one turning on the other, but the unfortunate situation and releasing of Nash Carter,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that they capitalized on an unexpected Wes Lee, because he did kind of float for a little bit, and there was really no idea what was going to happen, because I think during that time, Carmelo Hayes was North American champion. I think through that whole time,
Yes,
he was
he
at
was.
least within that. Yeah. So nobody would have expected, and I believe, and this is just my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
Wes Lee may be a greater star. I don't know about in ring, but a greater star than Carmelo Hayes. Just
I could see that from the standpoint of wrestling,
Mhm.
but I think the one thing Hayes has over Lee is his charisma. Hey, I feel like Hayes' charisma, because Wesley is gonna always come off as the underdog,
Mhm.
the guy. Carmelo Hayes, even if he comes in undersized, underweight, he's gonna always be like, I'm him.
Correct.
So, and I think that's the one thing that Hayes is gonna have over Lee, is the fact that Lee Lee has those wrestling abilities, with a guy his size, he can wrestle, but he does the flips and things like that. While Hayes, he has, some dive moves and things like that, but he has that charisma about him.
So I agree with that. I agree with that
Yeah.
100%. The one thing that strikes me, that strikes a chord with me with Wes Lee, is he's the one thing that a Shelton Benjamin should have been. He's the one thing that a
Facts.
Ricochet should have been.
Facts.
He's the one thing that a Kofi is without the need for a New Day.
Yes.
Because Wesley has this organic connection with the fans. Like if you look at any of his matches, and this is why once he won, because of course I picked him to lose last night, but when he won is when it clicked, because it's not so much as the underdog thing, it's the fact that you believe his fight.
Yes.
Whenever he goes
Yes.
into a match, it's like you believe that he's going in there, and it's heart. There it is. It's
Hard.
heart. And I think that is what is going to make it, because I do believe that he, this might be a stretch, he might be the one that they can pick to go over Hayes.
I can see it. If we're
If
looking
Hayes,
at if we're looking at truly who's there now, I can see it. I can 100% see it.
on top of that,
Just ignore that. I'm still doing some background things, so there you go. Ignore that. But yeah, I can 100% see it. But it was funny. I didn't feel, because I wanted to go for Gacy. Gacy was my original pick. I wanted to go for, but he did the thing you don't do. You held up the title on the go home show. And of course, if you hold up the title on the go home show, 95% of the time you're not gonna win.
This is true.
And I never thought about bait up until you put it there, and I was like, there could be some sneaky shit that Tyler Bate could come in and take it.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until the match started when I knew my pick was wrong. Because I don't know if you heard the commentary, because I know you was watching because I know we were both watching both shows at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But they said if Wesley wins, he would have the most defenses on the North American Championship, most successful defenses. And I was like, damn it.
You know, hold on, because now I have to side, because I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
But now I have to sidebar, because this is some WWE shit that's been pissing me off, because it's caused now with this situation, I'm not mad at it, because Wesley, again, I stand by my comment, arguably the greatest North American champion at this point.
I agree.
But WWE has made a lot of decisions that were completely unnecessary just for the sake of a record or history-making moment, i.e., Roman, Bianca. I'm sure there's somebody else in there.
Usos, technically.
Usos. I'm not too well, you know, I can still be mad at that. It just they pulled the trigger on the Usos at the right time. I can give them that. But there are plenty of other times where Usos could have completely lost and it not been an issue. But and again, I still haven't forgotten. I'm gonna make that video probably after Raw, because I got to see how they're gonna play things out. But the Roman thing and the Bianca thing, because two things that could have been taken care of at Mania. But for the sake of them pushing a record in history making moment, you know, they delay on the decision that could have been made. But with this, you're right. If I would have heard it, I would have been like, fuck.
Yeah. Right when I heard that, that's when I was like, well. And then, of course, you know, throughout the course of the match, then it was kind of like, okay, maybe Bate could sneakily win it, but nope. And, you know, I'm going to say this. Them letting Wes have that finisher, that cardiac kick, that finisher is perfect the way he hits that shit.
Yes.
The way he hits that cardiac kick, oh my God.
It's funny because as many times as I keep saying, like these past mid-card champions, Shelton and Kofi, the moment that you say that is the moment I think about how Kofi used to hit the Trouble in Paradise.
Yep.
Back in his prime, because right now I don't think he hits it as much the right way. Before, he used to just
it was a timing thing. Yeah. And the fact that, you know, the fact that the way he times that cardiac kick is beautiful. But yep, Wesley gets the dub. Now at this point, I don't know who I can see take it from him. Because when we get to the next match, I'm gonna tell you why I went with the champ in the next match. But I don't know who could potentially take it from him now, because I thought Axiom was gonna do it. Especially when, you know, they had the Fatal 5-Way and then they had the one-on-one match. So now at this point, I don't know who's going to be the one that's going to take the belt off of Wes, but I have a feeling it's going to be one of the ones where we're going to be like, okay, interesting choice. So it will definitely be interesting to see. But yeah, Wesley, the cardiac kid, still your North American champion. And then next up, we have the Heritage Cup, Noam Dar. Well, sorry, the Supernova, Noam Dar versus Dragon Lee. And the Heritage Cup, I don't remember all the rules, but it is very similar to the Pure Championship that Ring of Honor has, except that it's 6 3-rounds. It's 6 3-minute rounds. 2 falls in. If you knock out your opponent or get disqualified, the match automatically is over. I forgot how ring outs and rope breaks and all that works as well, but that's the thing with the Heritage Cup. And this was actually my first time watching a Heritage Cup match, because I didn't get a chance to see any when it was still in NXT UK. So this was actually my first time seeing a Heritage Cup match and seeing, you know, how it operates and everything. And it wasn't bad. I went with Dar because Dragon Lee's corner man is going to be the one to take it from Dar. That's the reason why I went with Dar, and Dragon Lee's corner man is Nathan Frazier for the people who didn't watch. And Oliver Carter, well, that's not his name now. Oro Mensah, it was Dar's corner man. But yeah, I had a feeling Nathan Frazier was going to be the one that's going to take it from Dar because the way they've been building it as of late. Now, how'd you feel about the match and the rules and everything?
So with the I actually like the Heritage Cup better than the Pure Championship.
Okay.
As far as the match wise, because with the Pure Championship, you know, they got judges and stuff for that.
Yeah.
And with the Heritage Cup, it's able to be ran in a more streamlined way without the need for judges or shenanigans. Like it's standard, and I like it because it's easy to follow, and you can easily pick up and watch a match without thinking, oh, okay, well, what kind of BS is going to be pulled here, or who's going to be biased in the situation. The reason I picked Dragon Lee was pretty fucking standard, is the fact that they haven't really been doing too much with them, and I was like, okay, well, this is a give me for him. I did think just like you, once the North American Championship match was over and I had my pick in mind for the Heritage Cup, I was like, okay, Dragon Lee is going to win this. Noam Dar is going to be able to bounce back and then probably challenge Wesley for the title. But I didn't expect what happened here. It was a good match. I'll give them that. They were able to follow through with this match as a whole, even with the shenanigans at the end. They didn't allow it to overtake everything. They waited for that last moment for it to actually come to a head, and then, you know, run it the right way. But I think the way that they played it out from beginning all the way up until the shenanigans happened, it was still worthy of being called, you know, a solid match with these two. Now, I don't like Lash Legend. I can't fucking stand her. So
there's nothing wrong with Lash.
I just it doesn't do it for me. That and Quincy, I just can't stand either one of those two. I can't stand either one of those. So it's difficult for me to watch either one of them come on screen. Because again, as much as, and I know this is another sidebar, as much as people, you know, have the backlash against Patrick Clark, aka Velveteen Dream, you can't just bring a character in that's almost just like it and then expect me to be like, oh, okay. No, it was done better a certain way. But anyway,
I know we went on a sidebar real quick. My issue with Quincy is that he went from one way to another way, and it was like, oh, this is what we do? All right, bet. Okay, cool.
Exactly. Cool. But I've never liked Lash Legend. I've never. I always thought it was just ridiculous and a forced situation, and I can see what they're doing here, and it's probably going to end up turning around for a lot of people that don't like her, including me.
Yeah.
But as of right now,
I thought they should have kept her paired with Pretty Deadly.
I think that would have been solid. But you know, of course, I mean, but they would have had to bring her up too, though. And I don't know how well that would have worked.
True.
But with this, it's so out of left field, especially with the whole Noam Dar thing.
Yeah, it did just kind of come out of nowhere that Jakara and Lash just came out there to help Noam win, and it was like, oh, okay, cool.
And it could work. And I think that's why I said that this is something that could probably turn people around, is because it has a chance of actually working. But as far as my opinions, good match, good angle. I'm behind it. I think they need to figure out what they're going to do with Dragon Lee before he becomes a waste, like a lot of these
Yeah,
international
I
stars that they
agree
put money
because
behind.
they did already put him in 2 title matches, and he came up short. So
Mm-hmm.
you're definitely right about that. You're
He's
definitely right.
he's in the same position as a Tyler Bate, just
Hmm.
without this, because Tyler Bate has a safety net. You know, now
Yes.
there's you can go too far before um you might have to write him off as nothing. And I'm speaking as far as Tyler Bate goes, because he's in a position right now where he could probably take maybe 1 or 2 more major losses in terms of like a title contention
Hmm.
before you have to say, okay, this is a waste.
Yeah,
So
I
they
can
got to
agree with
figure out
that.
what they're going to do. But Dragon Lee, you don't have that lifeline. He's way too
No.
fresh as far as NXT goes before you put him in the same category as a
And then y'all made this fuss too, bringing him in.
exactly. So yeah, they're gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do.
All right. And so yeah, Noam Dar retains. And next match, if you want to see some violence, we got some violence for you. We had the last man standing, the
Mm-hmm.
Uber bar, Ilya Dragunov versus Dijak. As y'all who follow me knows that I call him Dijak because he looks like Cobra, and you got to say his name with conviction. Um, so this is going to sound a little hypocritical, and I know this.
Mm.
The violence in this match, I prefer more than the violence that we saw in Anarchy in the Arena, which that'll come at another review. I could appreciate the violence shown here because it's not just a blood fest or it's not just a spot fest in a sense. It's,
Mm-hmm.
do I want to say it's a more believable violence? I don't know. It's kind
Yeah.
of weird to describe it
No,
because I do enjoy
you're
both
right.
things, but yeah. Um, so for those who didn't know, the story behind this match was that they crossed each other's paths and neither one of them could get the other one to break. And they even had a whole 3 segments 2 NXTs ago where Dijak was literally torturing Dragunov and Dragunov wouldn't give up. And it led to a last man standing match. And here we are. Dijak, who's, his own brand of justice. Ilya, who's like, I'm unbreakable. Well, we gonna see who breaks in this last man standing. And some spots in this match, I was like, I don't think I'm gonna take that. I think I'm good. Like, I don't know. It takes a special kind of human being who'll be like, hey, put me in the corner and just whack me a few times with a kendo stick with all your might.
Yeah, and I'm cool. I'm cool.
And the fact that when the match was all said and done, you can visibly see the damage on both opponents.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh, y'all for real, for real. Like, oh, y'all really gonna do this. Um, they had some great spots, both of them was just tough as hell. But ultimately the match ended with Dragunov. He does his kind of falling forearm strike on while the
Mm-hmm.
opponent is prone to the ground, and he realized he had to take it a step further with Dijak to where he had slid a chair underneath him, jumped off the steel steps that was in the ring, hit it to him again, and it was like, nah, fam. And they was both down, but Ilya got up around 8, and Dijak was still down, and boom, Dragunov proved that he is unbreakable. And all I can think to myself is they gonna need mad creams, tonics, whatever, because them boys is hurting. Them
Yeah, they
boys
gonna have.
is hurting.
I'm good on that.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good on that.
But them boys is
Um,
hurting. What you got, Jessel?
I 1000% agree with you in terms of the violence and the believability aspect of it. Um, because whereas thinking about Anarchy in the Arena,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's for lack of a better term, gory spot fest, because it's anything to get that reaction or that cringe,
Mm-hmm.
where once it happens, it's like, whoa, man, that's I don't.
Yeah.
It's like watching an Evil Dead versus watching a Saw movie,
Yeah.
because you'll have Evil Dead where it's like they're gonna give you all the shit that's gonna make you just not want to look at the screen, and then
Mm-hmm.
Saw is like, all right, how are we gonna get from A to B? There's a reason that this is playing out this way, you know. And yeah, it with these two going at it, it's like you can believably see, okay, well, I can see the wear and tear from this to this to this to this to this by the end of it. And then
Mm-hmm.
looking at Anarchy in the Arena, it's like, what?
Yes.
And I get it. And I
Yeah.
get it. But this match, as crazy as it sounds, with these two individuals, you would expect that, yeah, knowing how these two work, it's going to be a good match. But at the end of it, I was still like, man, we really got this from these two. And it's weird for me to say, because I still don't understand it either, going back, because of course knowing and I like to say Dijakovic, because I just like saying Dominic Dijakovic.
Same.
Um,
Uh-huh.
it just rolls off the tongue, as long and odd as the name is. I
Yes.
think I'm just so used to it. But
Mm-hmm.
knowing the type of person that he is, the type of professional wrestler he is, going into any match, you expect something good from him. But pairing him with Dragunov,
Mm-hmm.
it's expected but unexpected at the same time. And again, it's still weird for me to put two and two together, even though it makes sense. But coming out of it, it's like, man. And then of course I get mad, because then I'm like, why the fuck haven't they done more with with Dijak? Like,
Yeah.
there's just it's a disservice. He's somebody that, again, I think he's good at NXT, but I think he's somebody that would benefit way more from being called up to the main roster. He's somebody that I think would flourish the same way that a Gunther is flourishing now.
Just don't put him in a mask and call him I forgot what dumbass name he had.
You know what's crazy is
T-Bar.
that
T-Bar.
I completely erased that shit from my memory.
T-Bar.
Until you said this shit, I completely forgot he was part of Retribution.
Yeah, just don't put him in a mask and call him T-Bar.
And don't make him a Masse either. But
I don't know. Dijak, they could Maximal Marvel that name.
The only way that I'll be okay if they do that like that is if they bring the Feast Your Eyes back.
Oh,
then I'll be okay.
He has to move because he hit it on Dragunov.
No, I'm just talking about his whole entrance where he says "Feast your eyes."
Oh no, he probably would. He probably would, because that's his thing. Oh no, it will 100% happen. But yeah, Ilya Dragunov gets the dub. We'll see what happens next up, and then next match, NXT Tag Team Championship. We had the defending champion Gallus, Wolfgang, and Mark Coffey versus the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius. The Creeds was basically like, look, we've been wanting a fair shot. We've been doing what we needed to do to get here. We just won't shot at them belts, fam. And, Gallus was like, hey, we don't run from fights. We got you. And the caveat to the match was there's a third party with the D'Angelo family, Stax and Tony D. This past NXT, we saw that Tony D got arrested from stuff, and it was it was alluded to by Joe Coffey that they're the ones who ratted out Tony D. And from Gallus having the 3-on-2 advantage, Stacks came to the rescue, and Stacks was like, hey, I can come out there and help y'all. I can be y'all's third, so that way you don't have to worry about Joe. And they was like, no, we good. We've been burned by people before. We got it. Well, they should have took the help. Because, of course, the third member of Gallus, Big Brother, he wasn't going to let Little Brother and Wolfgang lose them belts. And the other caveat, Ava Rain, who's been beefing with Ivy Nile, all of that came into play with this match. All of that. And it wasn't time for the Creed brothers to get that dub. I honestly think that they're saving them tag titles for Tony D and Stacks. It's just that maybe Tony D might be injured or something, and they kind of trying to prolong it or whatever it is. But yeah, I thought Tony D and Stacks was meant to win them belts for a little bit now.
I can see that. I mean, I feel like there's a lot that's been meant for Tony D for a minute. It never just really clicked for him.
I can agree.
At the same time, I don't think that they pulled the triggers when necessary, but it's one of those situations. I like the Creeds. I do.
Yes.
I think they are past where they need to be.
I think so too. I think they're at the point where they can be called up now.
I think it's not a bad situation for them. I just think that they've been able, and I've no pun intended, but I think that they've been polished enough to the point to where I think they get it.
Yes.
And I think that they can easily be put and slotted into a quote unquote rising star mode. The same way that Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas was, ironically enough, with them. I think that it's their packaging, their attitude, their in-ring ability. I believe that they could be probably one of the greatest tag teams in WWE. And as far as Gallus goes, they're as good as they are. I think they're meant for a certain type of match style. And I think when you put them in with the Creeds, like you're asking for a solid, just pillar to post mat style.
We're gonna just beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, and I think with Gallus, like you really just need them to have fantastic dancing partners, which is why I hate that GYV is in the situation that they're in.
Yep.
Because that would have been that's a fantastic feud right there.
I mean, they had a fantastic match on NXT like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so
was it 2-3 weeks ago when the Dyad went against them for the tag titles? Like it was a great match.
And this is what we need. We need more like that. And I think this is the era that we should be in as far as tag teams go. Is get the necessary tag teams in there as dancing partners for Gallus, and then just go ahead and call the Creeds up, have the Creeds just go in there and give the main roster a fresh coat of paint, and then be good from there. That's why this was probably one of my least favorite matches. Not that it was a bad match, it's just the fact that I
can agree.
It was a mismatch.
And for the people who's been watching when I do my reviews, this never felt like a title was going to change. I never felt that the Creeds were going to win. It never felt that way. Never. So, but Gallus retains, and we'll see what's next. We'll see how this whole little triangle plays all out. But I think the belts are really meant for Tony D and Stacks. And next up, the biggest no-brainer of the night to determine the vacant NXT Women's Championship, we had Lyra Valkyria versus Tiffany Stratton. And, like I said before, WWE was going through their tournament arc. And with Indy Hartwell relinquishing the NXT Women's Championship, they had a tournament. They had a tournament to decide who was going to fight for the vacant women's title. Lyra won on her side. Tiffany won on her side. BattleGround was the meeting place to determine the champ, and this was the biggest no dub of the whole night. Like the moment this match was announced, it was the biggest dub. Like, Tiffany's gonna be a star. If Tiffany doesn't do anything controversial or get hurt really bad or anything like that, Tiffany has potential of being a star.
This is true.
Because shout outs to my brother Taiki. He was saying it's weird looking at Tiff because you feel like she belongs in the Divas era, but she doesn't because, for those who was watching WWE back then, the Divas era didn't have too many women that wrestled.
Correct.
So she feels like she belongs in the Divas era, but doesn't at the same time, and that's what makes her so unique. But she has it. Like, she has the star power. She has the charisma. Is that I hope there's someone having in the back of their mind of what we should do when Tiffany comes into the main roster. Like, don't just put her on the main roster and be like, go figure it out.
Yeah. She is, ironically enough, she's Mandy Rose without Mandy Rose having to prove herself. And I say that because the presentation is that of a Divas era superstar, but then her in-ring ability is that of, I don't want to say, because as much as I hate Charlotte is a fantastic professional wrestler. I would, at this point right now, I would put her at the level of where Nikki Bella was after Nikki Bella had proved herself. Because it's in a situation where, and I only say it because it's like a respect that's gained, because once Nikki Bella kind of broke away from the whole Bellas thing, and you kind of seen her stand on her own, you can see the difference between her and Brie. And the moment that people saw that and she became believable is when people were behind her 100% and was like, yep, we can see that she belongs here. And that's where I see Tiffany Stratton is now. She's in a position where people believe her that she belongs there, versus when she first came in and she was like, well, daddy this and blah 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 blah.
You could tell that injury helped, because she was able to go home and kind of fine tune, kind of make sure the screws was good and everything. She was able to fine tune the character to where she's still kind of the rich, prissy girl, but it's not the whole, well, daddy say I can have whatever I want. It's more like, ew, get away from me. Y'all are gross. Like y'all, Roxanne, you really believing in this whole power of friendship thing? That's kind of gross. Like, she's like that now more than the whole daddy this, daddy that. It's kind of, and then now, honestly, I'm going to say this. They've never done it in NXT, but they should grant this. Give her a custom title.
Ooh.
Let her be the first to have a custom title in NXT.
I'm with that.
The moment she won it, I was like, they should give her a custom title.
I'm with that. Because, and this is why I hate that they did the whole long reign thing with Mandy Rose, because you could easily give her a custom title and have her take a long ass fucking reign.
Yes.
Because
the
this
thing
is like,
if we're looking at the women now, Roxanne didn't had it. She doesn't really need it again. You have Valkyria who can always come back for it. Depending on what they do with JC and Gigi, they can always try to double back and whatever. You got Sol Ruka, you got maybe Henley, you got Jane. Like, you have competitors for her to have a significant title reign. Ultimately, as of now, I don't know who's going to be the one to possibly dethrone her, but you do have solid women that can challenge her to make her reign believable.
Yeah. She's in a very favorable position at this moment because you could easily slot her and book her the same way that they're booking MJF without having her do too much in ring work, because she can just do a whole bunch of character work, and then her character allows her to basically be like the spoiled pick and choose who you want to go up against versus having to be that fight, because everybody already knows, everybody believes that she can go. But just like with MJF, it's like her character allows her to not have to do it so much. And this is also perfect because it gives, and NXT has a fantastic women's division as far as promising prospects, where you can take the time and build up your next few stars, you know? And so, yes, give her a custom title and let her just run with that shit.
Yeah.
For at least like 7-8 months.
But yeah, this was the biggest no-duh. And never at one point of this match, I thought Valkyria was going to win.
Yeah.
The moment she made it to the finals, I was like, well, this belongs to Stratton now. I had no doubt.
I said this on my predictions vid, where I said that it was an easy pick, because if you look at the brackets and you see how Lyra had who she went up against versus who Tiffany went up against, it was like, if you're gonna have her go up against these people, she's clearly the one that's winning this.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You gotta think, Tiffany had to go through former champion Roxanne Perez. Lyra had to go through Cora Jade, former tag team champ in her own right, but still, like, nothing against Cora, but Tiffany had a more difficult time to get to the finals than Lyra did.
Yeah, absolutely.
And main event time, once again, probably the second biggest no-duh, NXT Championship, champ Carmelo Hayes defending against Braun Breaker. The story going into this was that, Hayes was trying to show Braun some love after their match. Braun turned heel, beat up Carmelo, beat up Trick, and he's been just running roughshod over the whole NXT roster, just spearing people, beating people up. And, he's now like, hey, pun intended, I'm a dog off the leash and I want my belt back. And once again, never did I think Carmelo was going to lose.
No.
Never. They had some great spots.
I easily checked out of this match. Like,
I did too, and I hate saying that because I love Carmelo, and this is the perils of having two fucking shows at the same time, because I'm trying to watch Hayes and Braun the same time the damn Four Pillars match is on. So, what do you think is gonna happen?
Yeah, they stood absolutely zero chance. And now with me, they stood zero chance because, and I'll hark back to the predictions video for NXT that I had. I talked about how I didn't like their first match between Braun and Hayes.
You did say that.
And it left such a bad taste in my mouth with how that went that I didn't even care about the second match. Like, it wasn't a situation where it was like, oh shit, we got a classic here. Oh, I have to watch the second match.
Yeah.
It, I didn't give a shit if they ran it back or not, because it was like they made too many bad decisions with the first match to where it just I wrote it off completely. And then with it being stacked up against the 4-way, I mean, you asking me to turn it off, and it was already on mute, so it wasn't like I heard anything that would have been like, oh shit, let me pay attention. It was nah.
And Mello, you're my guy, 100%. Braun fucks with you too. I missed the original finish. I had looked up at the TV and I was like, oh shit, the match is over with. And thanks to the replays, I saw what happened because I was watching the Four Pillars match. I missed the original finish. And I had both sounds going at the same time, and I missed the finish originally. And you know what it was? The booking they did going into the first match was fine. It was the match they had, because they now tried to have a little man, big man match in a sense. And it was like, no, just go out there and fight that.
Yeah.
Like yes, Braun is bigger muscle wise, but it's not like Braun is like this. It's not like Brock and Cody type of thing.
Yeah.
It was this Braun just has more muscle over Carmelo. So it wasn't like he's such this dominant monster that, Hayes had to be scared of. Like, y'all literally had them on some sportsman type stuff the whole time. But then when the match happened, it was like something happened. Then now it would make sense to have that type of match the second time around, since Braun has been proven to be this unstoppable monster. Then now you'd be like, okay, Hayes might have to be a little worried. And it fell flat to me.
Yeah,
the first match I thought was okay, but the second match, it fell flat.
And Melo still has a fairly solid build, so it's not
not like Braun such this, Brock and Cody type stuff, or hell, even when Karrion Kross went against Adam Cole, it was like, ooh, should we be worried about Cole here? Because Kross is kind of big.
That makes sense. But yeah, this one, no, and I'm gonna piggyback off what you said, because when you talk about the build and then the first match itself, the build for the first match didn't match the match, because their build was almost akin to something like how Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart went into Mania. It seemed to be like on a, hey, there's a respect aspect there, but I want that title, and it just didn't come off like that. And of course, the finish with Trick getting in it, getting involved in that, I can see what they were trying to do, because they're trying to do the whole, hey, let's turn Braun heel, and this is the way to do it. But I think that you tarnished the match just for the story, and there's plenty of ways that you could have had Braun turn heel, and this just wasn't the one. Now, granted, I do like him as a heel.
Yes. Oh, 100%. Look, the moment he was introduced and all that shit when NXT 2.0 happened, and he was trying to be like the smiling baby face, it was like, man, you don't turn that man bad guy.
Yeah.
Like even his name screams more bad guy, or sorry, heel, than it does a face. The face run is cool, but like even the entrance looked better as a heel than it did a face.
Yeah.
He came up with the mask on and everything. Like all of that the whole presentation looked better as a heel than it does face. Like put it in perspective, people. Karrion Kross with that whole entrance, and now Karrion Kross with that whole entrance as a good guy. You'd be like, you don't get that shit out of here. You're like, how you have this whole dramatic entrance with the music? Talking about fall and pray, but you a face?
Yeah, no.
Bullshit.
You got to switch it up completely.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
you switch it up completely. You might as well put the gladiator gear back on. You're gonna do that.
No. No.
But yeah, like I said, it was a solid night. I would say the last man standing, the North American title match, and of course, finally Tiffany getting that dub. But
Mhm.
it was a pretty solid night. It's just you just help but to feel that this night was tarnished because of Double or Nothing was running at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
That's
in all honesty, what they really should have did, since Night of Champions came on at noon, they could have ran this Saturday night.
They really could have. They should
And
have.
I would have been A-okay with that. I would have been A-okay with that.
I would have been happy. I would have been a lot happier. But that's this WWE ego shit. They don't want to put their B show, which is weird. They don't want to put their B show at the main event slot, when their A show is going on at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but anything else you got to say about Battleground before we wrap it up?
No, that's it, man. That's it. Wesley again.
Yeah, Wesley.
North American champion.
Definitely. Wesley and Stratton proved to definitely be the stars of the night.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
Well, whether you're new here, whether you've been here, you loved it, hate it, don't forget to rate it. Thumbs up, thumbs down, perfectly. Thumbs up. Like, subscribe, tag that notification bell so that way when we make videos. Because this man here has been pumping out his Dizzle moments. I'm about to get ready to get back on my quick tags with Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Dynamite, all of the above. At some point, oh Lord, Collision, Lord, ooh, I'm gonna be a busy man. busy man in the future. So let us know below what y'all thought of NXT, And once again, if you're new here, we like to sign our videos off with the best hand. But is it the best? Yeah, with the best hand gesture next to the DX chop. Well, with the best hand gesture in the wrestling business.
Period.
So until next time you hear from us, good people out there, don't forget to tag out.
That's right.
Peace.
Dollars make a way to make a change. Gotta be insane to make them same mistakes again. So I'm switching lane to lane. Pray the curb don't scrape.